Okay, so I asked everyone to switch on the video. Yeah, good morning. So that I know actually who are the students. Sometimes in the class or in the college, even if I get to meet you, I will not be able to tell. Okay, yeah, good, good. Hmm. Okay, how about the other people? Where are they? Today only 7 participants. And regarding the class of the time, the CBCS timing has to be fixed together with uh, the convenience of all other faculty. So suddenly if some department changes this timing from today to Saturday, then it has to be communicated, because this is a class where you are many other faculties, they come together. So this time has to be really fixed before, and it has to be for everyone's convenience. That is why it was kept on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Okay. Okay, so how about other people? Why don't you switch on your video? According to a recent circular, the video needs to be switched on at least in one class. Okay, Mr. Deuri, Dharmananda Deuri, Osim Nath, Simi Kolita. Cisco allows, even if it is in a low bandwidth, you needn't have to worry for that. We can comfortably do the streaming. If you really have problem, in that case, you switch it off. Otherwise, I I ask all of you to switch on the video at least in one class. Okay. 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 Let me see the faces, because I need to know who the students are. Okay. Hmm. So far, 12 students. Uh, who are from zoology? Zoology. Can you raise your hand like this? Ah. So how come this routine is changed? Why?
We didn't know,
Who?
sir. We get that.
Huh? It if
Yeah, we,
it has to be changed, your dean will tell it. Okay. And it has to be together with the consultation of all other faculties. So it is not an interdepartmental issue, because it is intra-departmental. So we need to be informed before that. Okay. So 12 participants. How about the others? Where are they? Ask them to join. Okay. Ask them to join this class, because today's class actually we are going to start the first module, and it is a kind of important class. Okay, so let us start. So let your videos be on until and unless you have real issues with it. Okay, if you cannot really stream onto whatever I'm saying, in that case you can switch off the video. Otherwise, let it on. Okay. Okay. So can you see this presentation?
yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so this whole class routine actually is designed in accordance with the prescribed guidelines by AICTE. So what the guideline says is that if your credit is 3, sometimes, do you know that this is a CPCS system? That means it is a choice-based, credit-based system. So that means you will earn credits. How you are going to earn credits? You will have to attend the class, you will have to appear for the exams, you will have to do the assignments, whatever are given, and the moment you pass in the subject, you earn that credit. So this is 3 credits, if I am not mistaken. So if it is a 3 credit course, in that case, there should be a minimum of 3 lectures per week. And these 3 lectures should be of 1 hour each. So that is why we have one lecture on Tuesday that is of 1 hour, and then we have 2 lectures today, starting from 9 till 11. But we have some problem with the application that we are using, that is Cisco WebEx. We cannot go up to 1 hour at a stretch because we are using the free version. So this 1 hour class is actually stretched to 45 minutes. So 45 minutes multiplied by 2 plus another 45 minutes. Okay, that much is the amount of hour that you have to invest per week. So you have to invest per week, and then you need to, we will be counting the attendances at the end of the class. So that is why it is really important to attend the lectures, whatever are given. I don't know in your faculty, but in engineering and other faculties here, as I know, there is a compulsion that, oh no, actually there is a rule that you have to attend at least 75%. Okay, if there are 100 classes, you need to attend at least 75 classes of that. Otherwise, you'll later on face problems when it comes to appearing for the exam. Okay. So let us discuss the first module today, which is basically on various uh, terminologies which we often hear when it comes to disaster management. So when you hear the word sometimes disaster, or there is a word called natural disaster or hazard or vulnerability or risk, or there may be some words such as capacity or coping capacity or adaptive capacity. Uh, Within risk, there is acceptable risk. Okay, so what these things are, and what are basically the differences from one word to the other, those we will discuss within this class. This is the first module. Okay, so as it is a PG level class, I would like to open a discussion and not just engage in a one-way talk. So that means I would like to ask you questions, and then I will expect answers from you, whatever the answers may be. Basically, it is somehow we open up a discussion. Okay. So first of all, since you are interested in the subject of disaster management, what do you understand by the word disaster? What, according to you, is a disaster? Or simply, if I confine the word disaster into the natural environment, what do you understand when you hear the word natural disaster? So, can anyone come forward? Natural disaster. Yes, you were free to speak. See, this is the subject that you are actually studying. It involves interaction with people. So those especially from social work background or who are studying in social work, um, you should not be afraid of speaking. So what do you understand by the word disaster or natural disaster? What according to you may be a natural disaster? Yes? Yeah, that is why I am asking all of you to just keep your videos on today. Uh, what is a natural disaster? Come forward. You must have some idea, right? So you cannot say that I haven't heard the word. I am at the PG level now. And you cannot say I still haven't heard the word disaster. We often use it. We often use it in many contexts. But when it comes to really define the word, or when you want to really pinpoint something as a disaster, what would you consider as a disaster? What is a disaster?
Destruction of the nature.
Yes. Who is this? Yes, speak up. Simikolita. Mm.
Destruction.
Sir, a natural event or fact that has an unfortunate consequences.
Okay, good. Unfortunate
So disaster
consequences.
means it
Hmm.
can be natural disaster, it can be man-made disaster. So natural disaster means these all flood, landslide, these are natural disaster.
Hmm. And man-made disasters.
And disaster are like some explosion and all,
Yeah. Okay, so this
nuclear
is the starting
explosions.
point. So first of all, it is a natural event. So whenever we are talking about natural disaster, we need to understand that the origin should be in nature. Okay? So in nature, প্রকৃতিত থাকিব লাগিব বস্তুটো. And can we all can we say all these events as disasters like floods or droughts, cyclones or tsunamis or earthquakes? So in general, as a layman, you will see that all these terms or words can be clubbed into the definition of a natural disaster. But there is also a slight difference that actually I want to highlight in the class today. So even then, we can or we try to uh, club all these words into the definition of disaster. We need to understand that all these natural events, if it happens in a way that it doesn't adversely affect the day-to-day life, that means in your own definition you said a few minutes ago that with negative consequences or unwanted consequences. So if there is a flood that happens in the middle of a desert, okay, if there is an earthquake that comes in the middle of the ocean, and then you are not really affected adversely or in a negative way. So according to the definition or according to our own terminology, we will call it a disaster according to what you said right now. But as long as we are not adversely affected, this is not a disaster. This is simply a natural event. Okay? So a flood that may come in the middle of a desert, it happens. Sometimes floods happens in a desertified area where you don't have people around, or if there is a flood that happens in the middle of a jungle, or if there is an earthquake that happens in the middle of an ocean, or if there is a volcanic eruption that happens underneath the sea or at the seabed. So these things, though these are natural events, these events they have the capacity to adversely affect our day-to-day lives. But since they have not done it, we will not call these as disasters. So in that case, what will we call it? According to the definition, we will call it as hazard. So can you see it on the screen? Yes? Can you see my screen presentation? So UNISDR is United Nations Agency for Disaster Risk Reduction. Okay? So whenever we talk about natural disasters or we talk about disaster management, because you have to remember that this is not a very old subject. This is a quite new subject. And then this is at the same time, this is a multidisciplinary subject. That means you have a scope of work from various departments that can positively contribute to the overall enrichment of the subject. So that is why we need people from science background, we need people from engineering, we need even doctoral professionals, we need social workers, we need people who may be economists, we need people who are working in the insurance companies, or various disciplines are actually come together when it comes to disaster management. We need people who are specializing in satellite image analysis. So you will see there are various definitions of the same terminology or the same word in this greater sphere of this subject. So it is quite sometimes possible that you come across conflicting or similar terminologies, but uh, in your own case, you have to really adhere to a particular terminology or a particular definition which actually quite suits your own purpose. Since my background is coming from civil engineering, so I like these definitions that are prescribed by UNISDR, that is the United Nations Agency for Disaster Risk Reduction. And most of this class, when we will be talking about disaster risk, capacity, those things, or disaster management, I will try to focus on, I'll go on with the definitions which are in the written form prescribed by UNISDR. Okay, so the similar definition may be given by the Red Cross or maybe any other organizations or international NGOs or probably our own government. Uh, but many of these definitions are quite similar. So just we have to pick up one definition that what which you think that is quite useful in describing the terms which you are looking for. So a hazard as defined by the UNISDR's book is called as a dangerous phenomenon, substance, human activity or condition that may cause loss of lives. So there is a word that may. So it says there is a possibility. Okay? But there is a difference if the possibility exists or it has already happened. So if still it remains as a possibility, then we call it as a hazard. But the moment it has happened and then our lives are adversely affected, my building is gone, the people that I know have died, my paddy my paddy field, my cultivation of the whole year is lost. So there is no question of it may happen. It has already happened. So in that case, we'll say that the hazard has been translated into a disaster. Okay? You have to be really clear on this definition. I hope I'm clear. So, it is a natural phenomenon. So, whenever we are talking about natural hazard, the root is always in the nature, or the triggering factor is always with nature. So, it is a dangerous phenomenon. So, what may be a dangerous phenomenon? A flood may be a dangerous phenomenon. An earthquake may be a dangerous phenomenon, right? A forest fire may be a dangerous phenomenon. Another example may be drought may be a dangerous phenomenon, or excessive rainfall may be a dangerous phenomenon. So these all they do have the possibility that may cause loss of lives, injury, or other health impacts. So all these they are indicating to somehow a negative or adverse effect on our day-to-day lives. Property damage, loss of livelihoods. So just a good example is that during this after this virus has emerged, this coronavirus has emerged, livelihoods are lost. Okay, so many people have lost their livelihoods. The way which they used to earn money are no more there. They have lost their services. So after that, social and economic disruption has taken place. Similarly, some of these incidences they do have the possibility that may cause some environmental damage. For example, if there is a oil tanker that is carrying oil in the ocean and suddenly there is an oil spill, it happens many times. So there is a massive scale of environmental damage that happens in and around or in the place where the spill has occurred. So these all may be categorized under the heading of hazard. If the cause is in nature or the triggering factor is in nature, we can say this is a natural hazard. Or if it is a man-made or the cause is or some of the human activities are to be blamed, then you can say this is a human-induced hazard or non-natural hazard. For example, an earthquake is a purely natural event. So we humans, we cannot really, so far as to my understanding, cannot contribute to the occurrence or non-occurrence of earthquake unless it is by some rock movement due to some excavation or other things, but or some bombing or something. But if it is an earthquake that has happened with the slip of the tectonics, humans have no contribution. So this is a purely natural phenomenon. Similarly, if there is a tsunami that is happening because of an earthquake, we also do not have a direct contribution. If there is a forest fire, so it may be because of man-made activities or it may be because of purely natural factors, or it may be in a combination of both natural and man-made factors. Okay, so can you give an example of a forest fire that may be happening because of a natural phenomenon? Yes, can you give me an example of a forest fire that is happening only because of a natural phenomenon or because of a natural factor? Yes, I will ask all of you to switch on your videos, because one class we need to switch on the video at least. So give me an example of an event where there is a forest fire and it has happened because of a natural event. How nature can contribute to happening of a forest fire? You understand what is forest fire? Forest fire, when there are fires that may happen in the forest. Yes, Shohei, can you give me an example that nature contributes to a fire in the forest?
Uh, some pollen grains under a humid condition they ignite the fire, and
That's
then
true.
a dewdrop.
Yeah, that's true. So if there is for a long time there is no rainfall, and then just the beginning of the rain you have massive thunders, and then there are incidences where uh, the forest is ignited. So that is purely on a natural basis. Sometimes it may be a non-natural or anthropogenic event. Anthropogenic means the triggering factor or the cause is due to human activities. So some people may go into the forest, they can arrange for some picnic, right? They have some fires and they forget to put off the fire, and this may actually trigger a huge forest fire. That is also a disaster. But the cause is which? The human activity. So in that case, we say that this is a non-natural disaster. But now the question is, can you tell me an example, or can you think of an example where it is a combination of both a natural and a non-natural event? Yeah. It is not entirely natural, it is not entirely man-made, but it is a combination of a natural and a man-made factor. See, my duty in this class is to trigger this kind of questions in your imagination or in your thoughts. So rather than just giving you definitions, you are going to write down these definitions. That is not the kind of activity that I really want to pursue. Okay. So I want to invoke the thought process inside you. So
Or maybe global warming,
yes,
climatic.
yes. So who is
Uh,
this? Nomen.
yes, sir.
Ah. So Nomen, you were from?
I'm from Arunachal,
Okay.
Pasigat.
Yeah. You see? Now see here's the point. So when it comes to a combination of natural and non-natural events, you can talk of an incident where there is a forest fire that is due to the overall increase in the global temperature. So if you really look into it, the immediate cause may be because of the increase of temperature. But who is contributing to this increase of temperature? If it is due to natural causes, we don't have a contribution into it. But if it is due to global warming, we definitely contribute to this global warming, and then because of that the incidences of forest fires are really increasing. The moment I am talking this issue, the whole of California is actually fighting together to curb a forest fire that is actually attributed to global warming. So ultimately we all are to be blamed for this. Okay. So you see, so disaster management and now climate change are really interlinked with each other like this. You cannot really talk about only global warming, or you cannot talk about disaster management, and then it is not possible that you don't talk really about the climate change issues. Okay, so both these things are really interlinked. So many things are actually will be coming together into this subject, and then you will have to really see these interlinkages of these various subjects: global warming and climate change, and then disaster management and climate change. Okay, so basically hazard is a very natural event, so there is not anything unnatural when we talk about a hazard. If there is a soil erosion that is happening, it is natural. If there is a river bank which is being eroded, the river is eating away the parts of the bank, this is also natural. If there is a flooding that is happening everywhere, it's also natural. If there is a tsunami, it is coming and then hitting the coastlines, it is natural. If there is a massive cyclone that is coming, it is natural. All these are actually natural hazards. But the moment these natural events disrupt your normal life in an adverse way means in a way with negative consequences, in a way which is not desired, in a way which you do not want. Sometimes if a cyclone is coming and then it is coming into my house, or it is just on the way of my village, so at that point the hazard translates into a disaster. That is by the definition of UNISDR. So as I said, you may have various other definitions, and this is a subject which is still evolving. So it is not like mathematics subject purely 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. You may have your own definitions, but you have to interpret the definition within the sphere of your own work. So hazard, as part of the definition of UNISDR, is a natural event which has the possibility, or which may be causing a negative consequence in my day-to-day lives. The moment it happens, we call it a disaster. Okay, we have a lot of things to discuss, but maybe I think we have to really I need to issue another link because this is going to end soon. Okay, so just I would like to stop this class, and then maybe in 10 what's the class, 10:15 we come together again. I will issue another link in the WhatsApp group. Okay, don't go away.
Okay, sir.